Hey there! In this quick guide, we're going to walk through how to log into your visual touch system. And, more importantly, we'll cover the absolute fastest way to get help if you ever get stuck. All right, so this screen should look pretty familiar. This is your visual touch login screen. Let's walk through the steps to get you signed in and ready to start your day. You know, the login process is super straightforward. Let's break it down into 3 really simple steps. It's a piece of cake. Okay, first thing you're going to do is tap that empty field right under Enter Employee Code. A keypad will pop right up. Go ahead and punch in your unique code. Once you've got it in there, just hit that bright orange OK button, and you are on your way. See? Simple as that. Okay, but let's be real. What happens if you hit OK and nothing happens? Or maybe you get an error message. It happens to the best of us. Trust me. So what do you do then? First thing you need to do is take a breath. Don't worry. This exact screen, the one you might feel stuck on, actually holds all the keys to getting the problem solved, and solved fast. You just need to know where to look. So if you do need to call for support, having 3 specific pieces of information ready before you even dial the number will make the whole process incredibly fast and totally painless. And the best part is, everything you need is right here on this screen. Just cast your eyes up to the top corners and then all the way down to the bottom. That's where the good stuff is. All right, here are the 3 magic items. You're going to need the station name. You can see it right there in the top left. Then you'll need your store ID. That's over on the top right. And of course, the support phone number itself waiting for you right at the bottom. Go ahead and jot those down before you call. And I really can't stress this enough. When you call support, giving them the station name and store ID right away is the single best thing you can do. It lets them skip all those basic questions and get straight to fixing your issue. It's a total game changer. So you might be asking, why do they need both of those things? Well, here's why it's so important. The store ID tells the support team your general location, which store you're in. But the station name? That pinpoints the exact machine you're standing in front of. It's the difference between saying, there's a problem somewhere in this building, and there's a problem with this specific computer right here. And once you're in, either on your first try or with a little help from your friends in support, this is what you'll see. This is your main screen, all ready for you to get to work. That's a beautiful sight.
Awesome. So, you're in the system. Now what? Next up, we need to get to the floor plan. This is going to be your command center, where you can see all your tables at a glance.
Now listen up, because this part is super important. To actually see that floor plan, you have to swipe on the screen, but the direction is key. You swipe from right to left. Let me say that again. Swipe from right to left. That single swipe is what brings up that wooden floor plan with all your tables.
Perfect. You swiped, and now we're looking at the floor plan. Now for the main event, opening a new table.
So here's your digital map of the restaurant. See all those little icons? Each one is a table. So for this practice run, let's say your guests are sitting at table 53. Find that blue icon for table 53. Yep, that one. And just tap it.
Did you see that? The second you tapped it, the color flipped from blue to this kind of brownish gray. That's the system telling you, yep, I got it, you've selected table 53. It's a nice little confirmation before you move on.
Okay, so with the table selected, the system automatically asks for the next piece of info it needs, which is, you guessed it, how many people are sitting at the table.
Okay, and I really want to stress this part. It is so important to enter the exact number of guests. We're talking about the actual physical chair count. You might be thinking, why does it need to be so precise? Well, here's why. This number sets up the position numbers for everyone at the table. That means the system knows exactly who gets what, so the right food goes to the right person. It's what stops that whole awkward, okay, who had the steak game. It makes service so much smoother.
So, to wrap this up, our little party has 4 guests. So just press 4 on the keypad, and then hit that orange Done button to lock it in. Simple as that. You've just confirmed the guest count, and the table is officially open.
And there you have it. That's all there is to it. Fantastic job. Table 53 is officially open, and you are ready to start punching in that order. You just nailed the first, most fundamental step of service.
So you've opened the table. What's next? Well, now it's time for the fun part, taking the actual order.
All right, the system knows your table and how many guests you have. The next critical step is to link this order to a resident's account. This is how the whole transaction gets connected to the right person for billing. On this screen, you're going to see a few different order types, resident lunch, dinner, maybe even some takeout options. It's really important to pick the one that matches the dining service for this specific meal. So for this order, we're going to tap resident lunch. Okay, next up, the system needs to know which resident is ordering. Now, you could type in their account number directly if you happen to know it, but honestly, the easiest and most common way is to just use the search function. Let's go ahead and tap search. All right, let's take the order for our first guest. Elon Kritzer, we've started the search, and now we're going to go find his profile. So on the search screen, you just start typing the resident's name. As you can see on the right, typing just Island is usually enough for the system to find all the matching profiles. Once you spot the right name, you're all set to select it and keep going. Now, this screen right here, this is crucial. It doesn't just confirm you've got the right person, it also gives you key info that helps you provide better, more personal service. Always take a second to read these notes. In this case, hard of hearing is absolutely essential for good communication. Once you've confirmed everything, just hit done. Okay, the check is all set up. Now for the fun part. Let's start adding food to the order and see just how easy the interface makes it. Getting around in this system is all about swiping. It's really intuitive. To see your menu categories, you swipe from right to left. Just think of it like you're pulling the menu onto the screen. To get back to the order details, you just swipe the other way, from left to right. And if you need to get all the way back to the main floor plan, it's the same thing, a swipe from left to right.
Okay, let's talk about a super quick tip for getting around those food apps way faster.
You know that feeling, right? Just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling through a giant menu?
You're just trying to get to the good stuff, but got to get past everything else first. But what if I told you there's a hidden shortcut right on this screen? See that tiny little arrow up in the top right corner? That's the secret.
It's really just 2 simple steps. You just tap that arrow, then pick your category.
And boom, tapping that arrow pulls up this super handy sidebar.
Now, every single section is just one quick tap away. No more scrolling.
Here is another one of those super critical steps. Always select the guest first. You see how the number 1 is highlighted in orange at the bottom? That means any item we ring in right now is going straight to guest 1. So with Elon selected, we'll go ahead and tap on the grilled mahi-mahi. I love this part. The system is so smart. Since the mahi-mahi comes with 2 sides, this screen just automatically pops up. It's basically forcing us to make those choices. We can't even move forward until we've picked a starch and a veggie, which is great because it prevents a ton of mistakes. And as soon as you've made those choices and hit done, you get this really clear orange confirmation banner right at the top. It says, added to cart, grilled mahi-mahi. It's that kind of instant visual feedback that lets you know for sure that the order went through. Okay, so that works perfectly for entrees. But what about appetizers or desserts? What if you need to tell the kitchen when to start cooking a specific dish? How do you actually set the course for an item? It's actually incredibly easy. Back on the main check screen, all you do is tap the button in the prep column. Right now it says entree for entree by default. But if you tap it, this little menu pops up where you can change it to appetizer, dessert, or even put it on hold. With Island's order in, it's time to take care of our next person. So let's move on to guest 2 and see how this all builds. This is where you really get to see how powerful the system is for handling multiple residents on one single check. Okay, so the process for adding a second guest is almost identical, but there is one super critical first step. Before you do anything else, you have to tap on seat number 2 at the bottom of the screen. This tells the system, hey, I'm now taking an order for a different person at this table. It is the key to keeping everything nice and separate. So after you've selected seat 2, the rest of the process is pretty much the same. You'll again choose the order type, resident lunch, and then search for the next resident's name, Peter Korapi. Once the system brings up his account, you just select it, and bam! He's officially added to seat 2 on the check. It's that seamless. Now we're going to take Peter's order, and his has a special request. This is a really great real-world example of how to handle customizations and make sure the kitchen gets the exact details they need. Let's start with his side dish. He's ordered the carrots. A simple tap on the carrots button under veggie sides adds it to the order for seat 2. Easy enough, right? But now for that special request. So here's the crucial part. For any special request that isn't a standard pre-programmed modifier, you have to use the memo function. You select the item on the check, the carrots in this case, and then you tap Memo. This lets you type a custom note directly to the kitchen, like no salt. This is absolutely essential for things like dietary restrictions or just specific preferences. And look, here we see that forced modifier feature again. Peter also wants a juice. And just like with the mahi-mahi, the system pops up and prompts you to choose the specific type of juice he wants before you can continue. This little step is such a great safety net. It just prevents mistakes and makes sure the resident gets exactly what they asked for. Okay, with all the orders in for our guests, it is time to review the check and process the payment. Let's make sure everything looks good before we close this out. Now just look at how clearly the final check displays everything. You can see both resident accounts, Elon Kritzer and Peter Karapi, with their specific orders itemized right there below their names. It's perfectly organized, makes it so easy to confirm. And the total for both guests comes to $22.25. Closing this out is just a few taps away. You're going to hit the payment button, and that'll take you to a screen with all the available payment methods. Let's walk through these last few steps to charge this to their house accounts. For resident dining, this is the option you are going to use most of the time. When you select Auto Charge VIP tag, you're telling the system to automatically apply the charges for each guest to their own house account that's on file. It's definitely the fastest and most efficient way to close out the check. And there you have it. The check is paid, the balance is now zero, and your transaction is complete. The system automatically charged each resident for their part of the bill, all in one quick step. And just like that, you've mastered one of the most common and important workflows in the Visual Touch system. I know it can seem like a lot of steps at first, but the key is just taking it one guest, one seat, and one item at a time. If you practice this flow, I promise it'll become second nature in no time.